Holdacious! How's it going, bub? So today I am playing some Rust on the UK Wasteland modded Rust server, and I have quite the raid for you. This is the raid of the 9 armies. The raiders consist of 5 different clans. The Tall clan, the Asphynx clan, Shadow, RFD, and Saw. While the defenders consist of 2 clans, Sparta and Winion, and 2 completely random clans show up tonight, and it's unsure whose side they're even on. This base is fairly large and well fortified, but will it be enough to defend against 5 whole armies coming after them with everything that they have? Because the raiders have a lot of men and a lot of explosives, so they're ready to give the Spartans quite the fight. The base consists of many different armored layers leading all the way to the core. Will the raiders have enough explosives to take on this monstrosity, or will they fail their mission? Or will it be the Spartans that lose it all? The Spartans are trying to upgrade their base as much as possible as the first shots are being fired from the raiders from the Tall clan. War has been declared. The raiders are now moving in, trying to build some sort of base, maybe a tower to get the height advantage down on the raiders or to get an eagle-eye view of the whole entire raid. The raiders have circled the base, probably trying to find the best entry point to get inside or to find any defenders that might attempt to flank them. Some defenders are already responding to the call of war, trying to pick off the raiders before they are overwhelmed by their mass amount of people. The defenders have their own little tower outside of the base. This might be problematic for the raiders. A defender is in this tower trying to fight back at the raiders, trying to weaken their numbers the best way he can. The raiders have built one of their own little towers, and they have a couple men up there. This can help out the raiders greatly because they can provide overwatch and make sure no other clans might come in their way and interfere with the ground troops. Some of the raiders are currently trying to take down the first line of defense, the metal barricades, and as they explode, they now have a clear entry point into the compound so they can start raiding this base and get this raid officially started. All the raiders you see here today banded together to take out the Spartan clan. They've been planning this raid for quite some time now. They've done a lot of preparations beforehand, so let's see if all that hard work will be put to good use, and let's see if they can take out the Spartans. Rockets are still being shot as more raiders are pouring through the compound. These raiders need to group up and get ready because as soon as he breaks down that wall, these men need to pour into that base and take on these Spartans with speed and agility. The raiders have now swapped to C4, the more efficient raid tool. The C4 will get the job done quicker and better. They have blasted through the first layer ladder defense, but the wall still stands. It is very damaged, however. It is very damaged, it is very black, so that means it's almost broken. The raiders are almost through the first wall. The raiders have actually blown through one of the walls, but that's not good enough for them. They need a bigger entrance. The raiders have blown through the first official wall, and now they are trying to frantically jump inside, but it appears that jump might be a little bit too high for these men. The smoke and dust is too thick to even see if there's a defender on the other side of that wall. Instead of using a ladder, these men are going to step on each other's heads in order to get inside. It almost looks like a pile of ants stepping on each other. Instead of being inside their base, defending where the raiders have blown into are now pouring inside, they're going to have a little bit of a gunfight with the raiders on their own tower. So it seems like the raiders are almost stalling the Spartans. The majority of the raiders are now inside the Spartans base and they're still stepping on each other's heads to get to different levels. The men are running around the hallways trying to find the best entry point. The raiders' wooden tower is quite vulnerable to a simple shot of a rocket from the defenders. The raiders are still working their way towards the core by blowing the space apart. In the core will most likely be all the loot because that's the most protected area of the whole entire base because it has many layers of walls the raiders have to go through. Another wall has been blown down. There's only one more armored wall in between the raiders and the furnace room. And right above the furnace room is their chest room as the Spartans are going through it, probably gathering all the gear that they can. The raiders are now blowing into those 2 rooms and we'll see what unravels from here. Both of those rooms have now been blown into. There's actually too much smoke and dust to even tell what's going on. The defenders need to get ready because those raiders now have access to their loot room. And ready they are because the defenders just shot an incendiary rocket at the raiders trying to burn them sons of bitches. That's pretty fierce, Spartans. Fire is still roaring and the raiders are now crowded into a corner like a bunch of scared puppies and they're retaliating by shooting rockets at the defenders. The loot room of this base is very vulnerable and very exposed here. The defenders are now retreating into their base, possibly trying to get to a different level to get a better advantage point on these raiders. As one actually did come downstairs, but he got lit up by the raiders. Fear must be striking these men because he nearly just killed 2 of his own teammates there. The furnace room and the loot room are exposed. The defenders up here trying to protect both of them the best way they can. And the Spartans killed this raider so hard they sent him right through the floor, and the only thing that remains is a twitching leg and a twitching foot and a twitching dead man down below. Dance, monkey, dance! Dance, monkey, dance! Nighttime is upon us and visibility is getting increasingly low. If we thought this raid was chaotic before, it's about to get way, way worse. This is going to be quite the hard fight for both raiders and defenders. Fire from the incendiary rockets don't even emit light yet, so the only source of light is each other's gunfire. The raiders must be scared because he pulled out a torch to escape the darkness, or to give visibility to the rest of his team members to spot any defenders that might be lurking in the shadows. The defenders are still up in their loot room defending it, and one of them is actually going through the loot, possibly gathering as much as he can and trying to get it out of that base as soon as possible, fearing that the raiders might get their hands on it. Two rockets were just fired and our little torchman here died in the middle of it, and more fire is spreading inside of this base. This is like the raid from hell. This is the most chaotic raid I've ever seen. This fire burns in this eternal darkness. Gunfire is picked up at the entrance of this base. I'm sure this night is confusing everybody on who might be who is the defenders, who is the raiders, and I'm sure many casualties will be lost from friendly fire. The fire still rages on in the heart of this base and helps to give off no light. The raiders have to be extra cautious not to shoot each other, but they still have to watch out for the defenders. The Spartans can take advantage of this darkness and kill them in the shadows. One of the Spartans is about to use the darkness to his advantage to kill many raiders. After slaying 3 to 4 raiders, making the inside of the base temporarily safe, they're going to take advantage of that time and repair those walls that were blown down earlier and make it harder for the raiders to get right back inside and cause more explosives for them. After losing so many men due to the darkness of this raid, the raiders have come back with a solution. Candle Hatch will be their savior, so they can continue the raid and stop the Spartans from repairing their base and finish what they have started. The raiders have used more incendiary rockets on this base, possibly trying to burn down the stone walls on the outside, and in the process, rained a fiery death upon themselves, and turned this battlefield into more of a hellish war zone. I wonder if that fire will actually burn through that whole entire stone wall, but even if it does, what advantage does that give to the raiders? There are still many more stone walls and armored walls until they reach the core loot room. The Spartans are still inside, trying to repair more of their base, trying to rebuild what they've lost, as the raiders are trying to blast through once again. The funny thing about this raid is that the only light to guide your path is the gunfire from your enemy gunning you down. Raiders are still trying to get back inside, fire is still falling from the sky, but there is no more need to fear the darkness, as the sun is rising and will shed light onto this raid and give the raiders back their vision and the defenders so they can pick up their fight once again and get this raid back up in speed. What you see right here is a Spartan using what's left of the darkness to his advantage so he can kill the raiders without them even knowing he's there. Watch as he slips right through them and they don't even recognize him as a Spartan. This man right here just got away with murder and none of the raiders even knew about it. It appears that more monkey men have been spotted around this raid. It's truly a house of horrors when there's dead bodies dangling from the ceiling. Apparently broken legs also dangle from the ceiling and leave men in awe. Oh, and there's actually another leg, pretending to kick a soccer ball. And yet more fire rages on inside the space, but this man used it strategically so he could actually block off a whole entire hallway with that roaring fire. Gunfire persists at the entrance of this base. Maybe the darkness is still confusing these raiders and they are actually shooting each other. The raiders actually have to blow down walls that they've already busted through before, because the Spartans were smart and actually repaired most of their base. C4 was just thrown wildly by a raider. These men aren't messing around anymore. They're going to blow this base apart and get this job done here and now. As more and more explosives go off, this base is clouded with an orange smoke. These defenders need to regroup and get back together and take control of the situation. Raiders are in your base, busting down every single wall, every single room. They will find you and find your loot, and they will not stop until every part of this base is blown into. They need to take control of this situation right here and right now and get these raiders out of their house, or they will lose everything. That's exactly what I wanted to see. That Spartan came out here, even though he is outmanned, he fought the raiders anyways. He wanted to take on the raiders even though the odds may seem impossible. And as he falls, he dies with honor and bravery. He fought to his very last breath and went against impossible odds. These raiders are blowing apart more of this base, and as the furnace room crumbles, orange smoke is lifted up in the air again. The raiders persist and they continue to bust down more of this base. They will not stop until they have wiped out the Spartans. This base is being crumbled to its foundations as explosives go off everywhere and completely obliterate the inside of this base. These raiders are not messing around and they are coming back with full force, ready to blow this base apart and finish what they have started. The loot room is still exposed and it looks like most of the chests have been blown away. Maybe the defenders have already gathered the most precious goodies and made out with them. And would you look at this, it looks like the raiders have found a secret hidden chest room at the bottom of this base. I wonder what goodies they might find inside of that. But maybe the Spartans have already gathered the loot from that and made out with it, because they probably feared that the whole 5 armies coming after them would blow their base apart and eventually find it. The new daylight is definitely helping out the visibility of this raid, so the raiders can go back to doing what they do best. More and more explosives are going off. These raiders aren't going to leave a single room unbroken into and busted open. They're going to turn this base upside down until they find what they are looking for. The core room of this whole entire base has been broken into, and what lies inside is the main tool cabinet, so they can get building access to this whole entire base. And it looks like the raiders were so excited they shot down their very own leader, Mafia, the leader of the Tau clan. Oh, someone's going to get some hell for that. Oh, would you look at that? It's John Booth attacking a campfire. Oh, get that ass out of my face. I gotta watch this man. Get that ass out of my face. He's taking it on. He has slayed that demonic campfire. Fuck all campfires around. The raiders are about to make their way up the base and get to what's left of the loot room with the new building access they have. So they're going to build a platform and make their way up there. I wonder what the Spartans even left the raiders, because they probably gathered their most valuable goods and made their way out of there. They have stripped down the monkey man, so now he is humiliated in front of all. The Spartans' allied clan, the Winions, have finally showed up to help them defend their base, but it looks like it might be too late, as the raiders are actually fortifying the core of this base and making it their own.
It's a giraffe!
Hopefully the defenders can turn the tides of this war and reclaim what they've lost. The raiders are still going over what loot might be left inside of this base, but the biggest loot of all might be on the dead bodies that lie everywhere. All the armor and guns that might be on these bodies is probably the best loot you'll even find in this space. And as you see outside, there are bodies littered everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And the LOL clan have showed up just to fuck around and mess with everybody here. I don't think they're on any side at all. I think they just kill whoever they like. The men running through the entrance right now are the actual raiders, trying to get back inside and trying to get back to their gear, but not before the LOL clan tries to kill them. It looks like the Raiders' Eagle Nest Tower has been destroyed in the middle of the raid. The defenders probably wanted to take that down and remove their height advantage over them. The amount of damage received to the Spartans' base is already substantial. There are many walls blown apart, bodies littered everywhere, and the core is absolutely blasted open, and the Raiders are actually trying to claim it as their own base. So the Spartans need to regroup and group up with the Winions and reclaim what they have lost, because right now, it looks like there is no defender to even be found, as the Raiders are freely going through all the bodies that litter the ground and gathering up all the loot that they can. Look at the sheer amount of lives lost during this raid. There are bodies littering the whole entire base. These men didn't want any of this. Look at their faces. Look at the horror on their faces. These men didn't want any of this. This raid has brought so much depression to us all, and this man's about to give birth. Many lives were lost today, and hopefully no more will be lost. It looks like the Spartans aren't even here. They are nowhere to be found, so maybe, just maybe, they have given up on this base and let the Raiders have at it. Hopefully they will come back and attack these Raiders while they're defenseless. It looks like they actually might have. There's gunfire breaking out inside. Nope, it's actually confusion. These men are killing each other once again, but I think LOL isn't even on their clan. But Shadow has just killed us all. So the teams are actually accidentally killing each other right now. And the RFD guys are shooting at them, which are also their allies. The amount of confusion going on here today is incredible. They are all killing each other. They don't even need the Spartans to kill them. They will just kill each other. Raiders are actually being shot at from where they have built their base. That is a Raider's tower, and a Raider inside shooting at his own men. What are these people thinking? Are they just bored that the Spartans aren't here to kill them? So let's just kill each other, why don't we? And what's this? Is this a Spartan man coming back to defend his home, ready to get rid of the Raiders and get them out of his house? This Spartan is all alone, and he's completely outnumbered, but he has no other choice. This might seem like a foolish attempt, but he has to get rid of these Raiders. He has to evict them from his house. Even though this might seem like an impossible task, he's going to go for it anyways, because he has so much to lose here. He is not going to let that happen. What you're about to see here is a couple tall members being shot at by an RFD member, which is their ally, and he actually kills them. But wait, the RFD member is now being shot at by two more people. And the two people that just killed that RFD member is part of the Asphynx clan and another RFD member. These men literally do not know who they are killing. It's absolutely crazy in here that these men are actually killing each other more than the Spartans have actually ever killed them. The Spartans are regrouping. The Spartans have come back to the raid, and they are now regrouping and gathering up, ready to take on the Raiders.
Threaten my people with slavery and death. This is madness! Madness. This is Sparta!
Oh, that's too bad. Even though they both went down, that was a valiant effort from both these Spartan men. And that Spartan was actually gunned down by another Spartan. The amount of team killing here going on at this raid is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Do none of these men check who they're about to kill before they kill them? The Spartans that were dead before have come back and are re-gearing on their very own dead bodies. This is going to be a very long and hard-fought war, but Spartans never give up and they never surrender. Even if death is inevitable, they will still fight to their very last breath.
Spartans! Ready your breakfast and eat hot. But tonight, we dine in hell!
The defenders have now cleaned out their base, so no raiders remain inside. They can now start working towards reclaiming what they've lost. Raiders still persist outside, and the defenders have just built up a wall. They're getting ready to patch up the hole where the raiders have poured through before and end this raid right here and right now. The Spartans have successfully upgraded that wall. The raiders are nearly locked out until they patch up that hole and repair the rest of their base. This raid is coming to a close. Right now the raiders are scrambling outside trying to break in through the rest of the wall, but the defenders are doing a great job repairing the rest of the base and making sure those raiders stay out this time. Confusion has spread to the raiders. They are standing outside wondering what their next move should be. Should they retreat and go home with what they have left, or should they try to go back in there and fight for what they've lost? It looks like the RFD guy is turning on his own allied clans. He just shot down 2 of his buddy members. It seems like the group of allied clans don't even care about their alliance anymore, and they're just turning on each other for the fun of it. A wild naked man with a hatchet is going around smacking all the raiders, trying to kill them all, and he has successfully taken down one of the raiders with just a stone hatchet. Way to go. And he's still taking down yet another raider with a stone hatchet. This guy is really hardcore, and it's sad to see him go down. He was doing such a nice job, such a killer job with just a stone hatchet. And yet another wild naked hatchet man has appeared and is going after the raiders. These men are ruthless.
Wait. Hey, I'm with you. Can you help me out? I'm with your son. Hey. Ham, guys. I'm with you. Can you help me out? I'm with your son. Hey. Ham, guys. Could you help me up? I'm with you. Hey, dude. Help me up. Can you help me up, please? What the fuck? You fucking faggot. Wait. I'll fuck you up. Friendly.
The firing has ceased and the war is over. The raiders have gone home to lick their wounds, but not before they left their mark on the Spartans' base. The inner core of this base was blown apart, the loot was taken, and there's casualties spread across the lands. There are bodies on top of bodies stacked upon each other from raiders and defenders alike. The battle fought here today was a fierce one, full of chaos, and there was much bloodshed. You can hear the defenders, the Spartans, repairing their base. There was much loss here today. Their base was absolutely blown apart, but they will recover, they will rebuild, and they will reclaim what they have lost. Knowing Spartans, these men will come back stronger than ever. While there are men inside repairing the base, the rest of the Spartans are outside making sure those damn raiders don't come back. They are killing off the rest of the random nakeds that showed up here today. Even the nakeds had their own little hard-fought battle. They definitely gave the raiders and the defenders a run for their money. And that's the end of the video, guys. That was quite the raid. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to have a fantastic day. I know that I will. And I will see you guys later.